What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video today, and 2 months after my last My Hero Academia volume review, I've managed to read the whole series up to date, volume 16, so I can literally just pump out these volume reviews videos now. And as I said in the first one, I'm going to be doing 2-in-1s kind of reviews up until 14, which is kind of where the anime season 3 leaves off. And new content is kind of beginning, so 15 and 16 will be individual volume reviews, but from 3 all the way to 14 there would be 2-in-1 reviews. And like I said in the last one, I'm going to be kind of comparing how I thought the manga was in comparison to the anime, which one I kind of preferred over the 2 volumes, and also giving my score out of 10, each of them being out of 5, and an overall out of 10. And it's just going to be like another standard volume review like I usually do though, so it's nothing too special. So let's get straight into it. Now in volume 3 you have the first big fight with implications in it in the series, and that is Nomu versus All Might. And this was an amazing fight in the anime, when the Nomu and All Might are punching at each other. The animation on that is really good, but even in the manga it was really cool to see that. And although they couldn't really show each individual punch as well as they could in the anime, it's still done well. So props to Horikoshi for being able to capture the same kind of thing he could in the fight. Now obviously knowing everything that's happened in the manga or in the anime, sorry, kind of holds my suspense in terms of the series, but I'm pretty sure somebody reading this fight for the first time would get a lot of enjoyment out of it and be suspenseful as to how the fight would end, because they wouldn't know really anything about the Nomu and how strong they are. So that fight, I have to give props to that. Horikoshi's first major fight with big implications in the series, he handles it very well. It doesn't go on for too long, but you also kind of get to see finally for the first time in the series All Might's true power and what puts him above the rest in terms of his spot at number 1. So I think that Horikoshi does a good job there. And something Horikoshi does throughout the series with his fights is he allows for character progression whilst in a fight, as opposed to just character progression through conversations and realizations after or before fights. During the fight you see characters growing, and even characters that aren't involved in the fight, like Deku in his first fight here, jumping into action with Kirishima, Bakugo and Todoroki on the cover, as you can see, also helping out and coming to save All Might. So you can kind of see, firstly, that's something used to progress the characters and show how they are willing to put themselves in danger to save the number 1 hero, and kind of show how powerful Class 1A is in it, for 4 of their members to be able to stop something that All Might is struggling to do himself. Just kind of shows how 1A is different from every other class that UA's had before it. So Horikoshi I think Horikoshi does a really good job of tying in a lot of things within a few pages, just trying to tie up stuff quickly and get everything done in a very small amount of time. Something that I do definitely realise as you get into the sports festival arc, which is what I'm going to talk about now after finishing that fight. So the fight between the League of Villains and, or the Attack on USJ as it's called, comes to about roughly here in the manga, and then that's the end of season 1 of the anime. And if I was to compare season 1 of the manga to season 1 of the anime, I'd say I'd prefer season 1 of the anime than the content in the manga, simply because volumes 1 and 2, everything happened really slowly and it was like lethargically moving along, and I do kind of prefer the pacing of it in the anime. But I'd say that changes for season 2, and that's when the sports festival starts. Everything in the sports festival goes by really quickly, only lasting probably 2 volumes worth of content, as opposed to, let's just say, the tournament arc in Naruto, which is the Chunin exams, which goes on for about 6 or 7 volumes. So it's definitely scaled down a lot, but it is still definitely my favourite arc in My Hero, and I love everything from the race course thing at the beginning all the way to the standard fighting tournament at the end. So I will now talk about kind of the remainder of volume 3 and all of volume 4. And one thing, the kind of a segue before the tournament arc, something that I'll be mentioning a lot as the volumes go further along, is especially noticing it in the anime, but also in the manga, there's a lot of like, during conversations, I think Horikoshi handles them really well. They're really intense and really emotional, and when you get to that Bakugo Deku fight towards the end, closer to volume 13 and after provisional licenses, and All Might All for One's conversation as well in the prison, Horikoshi does an amazing job of even building suspense outside of fights. I think it takes really good mangaka not to just be able to draw fights well and implement kind of dialogue into fights, but also just have full-on conversations of dialogue between two characters that just make you feel emotionally invested and make you wonder kind of how it's going to go. It's almost like there's an element of suspense that you'd normally see from a fight in any other manga, even within the conversations that our characters are having. And if a manga can emotionally invest you in conversations, I think they're doing a really good job, and that's what Horikoshi has done personally for me in his series. So that's a little tangent I went off on there before mentioning the sports festival. And I'd say a main reason or a biased reason for sports festival being my favourite arc in the manga is because we get to see a lot of Todoroki in it, and it is a very Todoroki based arc. I'd say Todoroki, Deku and Ida are the three main characters within the arc. However, as I mentioned with Horikoshi previously, he does like to give his minor characters and his other characters within the series their time to shine as well, and he does that again. But it is always between our big three at the top of the class, Bakugo, Deku and Ida, and Todoroki, sorry. And it's like that in the race bit, which again, considering that you can't really animate anyone running or anything, the manga does a really good job of the race, and Deku winning at the end was, obviously I'd already seen it, but when I watched it in the anime it was really surprising, and I really enjoyed just seeing it again. And as usual, My Hero Academia manages to be funny and have that comedic effect that Horikoshi again writes well. And Volume 3 does a good job of continuing the quality of My Hero. I think it actually improves over Volumes 1 and 2. And I think it just proves that Horikoshi can get a lot done in a little time, but to good quality. It starts off with the All Might fight and ends off almost halfway through season 2. So just for one volume's worth of content, Horikoshi does an amazing job. So yeah, now let's get into volume 4. I tried to talk about this one a bit less because I don't want to make this video too long. But some people have told me that I talk way too fast, so I'm not really sure. I need to find a way to balance that, but something kind of irrelevant. I love this cover as well, with all the important characters in this arc. Mei Hatsume is probably the best female character in My Hero for me, so that's pretty cool. Something I do enjoy about the sports festival as well is just how unique the kind of elements to it are. I don't know if cavalry battle is something that is common in Japan. Obviously not being Japanese myself, but I just think it was quite a unique way to go about, as opposed to just standard tournament art style fighting right from the beginning. There's other interesting stuff like a race and then a cavalry battle that kind of make it a little bit more interesting and unique. And the cavalry battle is still really interesting, and you get a lot of kind of development of characters within it. Firstly, Ida rejecting Midoriya's proposal to join the team, and then like making kind of a declaration of war, as a lot of the people in UA are doing to each other. First Todoroki and Deku, and now Ida as well. It's kind of quite interesting, his development on his part, so it's kind of to show again how the main characters affect people around him with his attitude and his ideals. So that's quite cool, and I always like to see kind of not just the main character being affected by things happening, but also everyone around in the world changing. Obviously later stuff that happens, for example the All Might All for One fight, Horikoshi does a great job of showing not just how it affects our main characters, but even people outside of that and the world in general. So that's definitely something that I'll talk about when going into volume 11. But in terms of this volume, Yeah, I really enjoyed the, as you here saying I'm challenging you, I really enjoyed the cavalry battle. I thought it was something that was unique and really good. Bakugo was probably the standout character in the cavalry battle for me. The way he just kept being persistent against, I believe his name is Monoma, something like that. A character that I really dislike, and Horikoshi writes him that way, so I'm supposed to dislike him, and he does a good job of it. And I really enjoyed seeing Bakugo just chase him down for all the headbands. It was something that was funny whilst also just classic kind of Bakugo and how he is. So he's probably the standout character in the cavalry battle for me. And as I was previously speaking about the conversations, it's done again here when Todoroki and Deku talk here about kind of quirks and stuff like that. I don't really want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, that's something that kind of had me suspenseful and curious about what's going on. And that conversation was really good, and it was handled really well. Another conversation I really enjoyed, especially considering it involved my favourite character. But yeah, and then towards the end of this volume, we get to see the first bit of the classic tournament style one-on-one fighting with Deku fighting Shinzo, and I did think that was a good fight. I think it was more of kind of a build-up fight to show how far Deku has come, as opposed to his actual physical abilities, which will come in his next round versus Todoroki. But the fight against Shinzo was something that, for what it was handled well. And even the character of Shinzo, by the end of it, was, although he lost, he improved in his skill, and he realised what he needed to do to better himself in the future. And I hope that we do see Shinzo again, because I think he's one of the more interesting characters within or outside of 1A. But Deku's the main character. Yeah, it was just kind of to show he's evolving with the ability of One For All, and he's doing a great job of kind of being able to use it. But yeah, so that's kind of the beginning of that. The tournament style, classic tournament style. The Ida Hatsume fight was really funny in the anime. They didn't really show as much of it, but it was still quite enjoyable. And like I said in the previous video, I do like volumes of cliffhangers, and this was another one of those. Bakugo versus Uraraka, a really enjoyable fight. So as I said with the previous one, it was a very good volume, and I think that each volume from 1 just gets better. So 2 was better than 1, 3 was better than 2, and 4 up until the point was the best volume of the series, until 5 comes along, and that is I'm going to be talking about in the next volume review. But they will come along reasonably quickly. In terms of art in these 2 volumes, it's the classic Horikoshi art. I really like it, and the more of My Hero you read, the better the artwork gets, and the more you get used to it. And I really like Horikoshi's character designs, and you'll see some of that crazy character designs later on in the series, and just what he can do with the world that he's created. The character progression isn't that extreme, but you do see, I think there's a lot of characters going through a bit of development, but no standout character going through a lot of development. Obviously Deku, the main character, goes through the most in the 2 volumes, but there's a lot of Todoroki and a lot of Bakugo, and even in the next volume you'll see Uraraka take center stage in a fight against Bakugo. But these 2 volumes together, I would probably give a 7 out of 10, a 3 and a 4. I think it was better than 1 and 2 together, but not that much better, because I just think all of My Hero is pretty amazing. But when you see the 5 and 6 reviews, that's kind of going to be where I'm fanboying out the most, because Volume 5 is like, I really love that volume because it contains my favourite fight. But yeah, I'll be putting out a lot of these volume reviews now that I've completed the series. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and peace.